Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope you're doing great today. Today, we're going to be working on our farming area and main base a lot more, installing more farms, getting many more items, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. If you've seen the last couple episodes, you'll know that we just got all 4 of these iron farms installed. So far, they've actually been working really well. If we can land right here, you can see that we got ourselves a bit of iron in here. We've already been crafting all the iron down as well. So we've already gotten like 6 stacks of iron blocks, and I'm quite happy about it. Although 2 of them are kind of mildly broken in a way. But as you can see, this one's working great, so that's all we're going to focus on for now. Just the positives. I don't want to think about how these things are broken after I just rebuilt them. Like, twice. Anyway, so we're going to be building up some kelp farms in today's episode, I believe. Now, kelp farms generally are kind of boring. However, they give us a lot of possibilities, and we're going to be building them in a very unique way that you might not have seen that often. We're actually going to be building them underwater, and I think we're going to be building either 2 or 4 of them, because we gotta keep things symmetrical, dang it. I'm not allowed to like just build one of it, then the entire base would be lopsided. So somewhere off over here, down in the ocean, we're gonna build some kelp farms, possibly directly on the ocean floor even. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting challenge. We're going to have to do some interesting mechanic usage, and we're going to have to do some redstone underwater. I'm way too excited for this. It's just a kelp farm. But I haven't built one in survival before, so I'm extra excited for no reason. But we got things to do in today's episode, so I'm going to chuck away all the iron. We're going to go find ourselves some chunk borders and start marking out where we're going to have kelp farms. So lucky for us, we actually already have some chunk borders marked out. This is exactly a 16 by 16 area, 4 chunks away from the central chunk, and this is, you know, where we had the iron farm above us originally. Now, I'm thinking we're going to build the kelp farms in this area right here. So this chunk will be the center of the farm, and then we'll have the farm be basically 48 blocks wide. So this will be 16, we'll go 16 blocks out in this direction, and then we're going to have the farm go 16 blocks out in this direction as well. And essentially that'll be 3 chunks wide, keeping the build symmetrical and lined up with the entire rest of the base. Okay then, so I've marked out 2 areas for the kelp farms. You can kind of see them through the water. I put some sea lanterns on the corners of the chunks. So as you can see, they're actually going to be fairly large farms, and I'm going to try and have kelp within that entire area. I have not figured out how we're going to do the redstone, how we're going to do the item collection, or how we're going to do just about anything. So we're going to figure out all of that on the fly, and I think that'll be really fun actually. I've been having a great time with the on-the-fly building of the Guardian farms and the Iron farms, so we may as well just keep doing that. Honestly, it's quite enjoyable. A little bit more fun than planning absolutely everything out in creative first. So if we go ahead and head underwater real quick, you will see that we got some floating items here. I want these actually. Do not despawn. Thank you. But yeah, you can see that this is going to be the layout. Obviously, it's going to be down at the bottom of the ocean floor. We can probably use the actual ocean floor itself for planting the kelp on. That'll save us a lot of time too. And then the most complicated bit of this entire project is going to be wiring up the redstone in a way that is not absolutely hideous. And then also figuring out item collection, you know, on the ocean, which is also going to be a fairly interesting task too. So we're going to begin construction on the north side of the ocean monument, which is this side right here. As you can see, I've already got out the grid marked, but I need to double check this and make sure this is actually chunk aligned. And that way we don't build the entire build like 1 block off to the side or just something terribly annoying. And then what we need to do is we need to completely flatten the area that is lined up with this little grid marker right here. This needs to go all the way down to Y35 actually. That way all of the kelp has ample room to grow. And we're going to put ourselves a layer of sand down here at this layer. So basically Y34. And of course, you know, there's a million drowns all over the place. Yeah, these guys are already very annoying. Get out of here. I hate you. Anyway, so we need to mine out a massive area going in many different directions. Oh, wait, dude, please stop. I hate you. I'm trying to record a video. Where was I? Yeah, so we need to mine out this entire 16 by 48 area. place down sand. That'll give the kelp ample room to grow upwards, because kelp can grow like 25, 26, 27 blocks tall, somewhere in there. I tried counting how tall it can grow. I can't count. I legitimately tried like 3 times, and I failed and got a different number every single time. So yeah, we're just gonna give it ample room to grow, and we're gonna call that good. You guys remember how everyone at Minecon voted against an underwater hostile mob? Yeah, this is why. They spawn way too often, they're too difficult to kill, they're too strong, they're terrible, they're squishy, they make weird sounds, they're wet, and they're damp. And overall, they're just bad. I don't like drowns. I got a little bit of a clever idea. Since there's already sand on the surface here, and since we need to mine down by several layers, if I take this down to Y34, and then remove all of the stone, the sand will fall directly down to Y35, and then I don't need to place in the sand. The sand's already where it needs to be. So basically, I can just mine out the ground underneath it. All the sand will fall into place, and that'll save me, in theory, a little bit of time, because I won't need to place extra blocks. Mwahaha! My genius knows no bounds. Or is this like a super common thing to do? I don't know. I don't build underwater. And for good reason, there's too many drowns. Drowns everywhere. I guess one of the nice things about building underwater is you can just litter wherever you want, and all of the things just kind of float away, and it's no longer your problem. Disclaimer, don't litter. Littering is bad. Too much kelp. So now the entire thing is dug out, sand is in place, and it is time to start planting myself some kelp. I also just discovered that drowns cannot swim upwards if they are in a downwards flowing water, which is kind of adorable and also kind of cute at the same time, and I really do enjoy that. If we go over here, he still will be able to get to us. I honestly love teasing these guys. They've been nothing but a hassle the entire time I've been working anywhere underwater. I wish they just didn't exist. Like underwater hostiles. Why would you want to put something hostile in such a beautiful, peaceful place? And why would you want to make them ranged? Questions. Well, that took a while, but I'm pretty sure it's all completely done now. I'm just doing a last-minute scan to make sure I didn't miss any of the kelp plants. It looks like I didn't miss a single one. Yay! That's not too bad. So as you can see, these things do grow pretty quickly, and they're actually going to grow all the way up to about here, I believe, once they are fully grown, and that is going to be a lot of kelp. I have no idea the rates of this farm or the rates of 2 farms combined. We will figure that out in the future once we have some more infrastructure in place for item collection and stuff like that. We're going to need some seriously overpowered item collection, and we're gonna need some serious countermeasures against all of these drowns. So I have a little bit of a wall design to put up around the edges of the build. We don't actually need like a full wall going all the way up to the surface. For the most part, everything should just float kind of directly upwards into some form of item collection that we will figure out later. But basically, this is the wall design that we're going for right here. You can't really see the whole thing, can you? Because there's like a lot of ground in the way. In fact, as we bring this all the way across, basically the entire wall is going to get buried. So we're going to have to actually lower down this ground by several blocks, like 3 or 4, sometimes even 5, just to make this wall visible. But this is what the wall actually looks like from the side, and overall it's not too bad. So we're going to have repeating sections of 5 wide, and then once it gets towards the middle, there's going to be a couple of like thinner sections just to make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and build this up on either side, going all the way down, and it should look pretty good in the end. Oh my god, I can't record a single clip without tridents being thrown at me. Okay, you guys are gonna think that this is staged or something, but it's not. So the kelp farm, I dug all the way out to directly right here. Now, during the entire time, I was getting shot out by a skeleton. I did think it was kind of weird that the skeleton didn't despawn, and you might have just noticed it, but there's a little bit of cobblestone right there, and you know what that means. There's legitimately a mob spawner somewhere in here, and it's a skeleton spawner, and I don't want to go in there because it's scary. Do I have anything to break this? Water. Water breaks these things, right? There you go. Break down those guys. Can I please get the water back? No, I can't get the water back. I can't get any water. Thank you. I just want to see what's in the chest. Oh my god, there's so many skeletons. This is fine. I'll just go in here and wipe out all these guys. Maybe this was a bad idea. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. Okay, there you go. Oh, hi. It's actually very dark in here. That explains a lot, actually. Explains why these guys are still spawning. Great. Let's get some torches and spawners disabled. Cool. Well, I guess we can do something with this if we want to. What's in here? Absolute garbage. What's in here? Absolute garbage. But I will use these for rockets. And that's literally it. Cool. I guess that's a very random find. Also, yeah, there's a mine shaft. I didn't look at it the entire time that we were building. Two things. First of all, I've built myself a very nice little garden wall to my very nice little kelp forest, which is actually much taller on the other side. As you can see, it like goes down all the way. So yeah, we gotta kind of like clear out this layer of the ground, at least like make it a couple blocks lower. That way you actually see all the effort I put into the wall. We gotta put more effort in just to make the effort that I already did be worth it. Also, a little surprise for you, not only do we have one of these kelp farms over here, we also have a second one off over here as well. So we now got two of them installed. The walls actually look significantly better on the southern one because, you know, the ground isn't as high. So this is what they should properly look like once they're fully done and once we redo the terrain on the northern one. And honestly, it looks pretty decent. I'm quite happy with the simplistic yet kind of archy, like castle-y, pointy, wall-y design. Yeah, I know how to use all the words to describe things really, really well. Anyway, so now we need to figure out the redstone and the flying machines for how to actually harvest these. I think we need 2 flying machines in total. Since this is 16 blocks wide, a single flying machine won't be able to do that on its own. So we'll need 2 smaller ones that can cover like an 8-block area each. And then we'll tie those up to some basic redstone. We'll probably have like a little box building on this end, and then another little box building on the other end, just for housing all the redstone and making sure that everything works properly. Now, we also might need a bounding board, like a giant wall right here, because the flying machines are going to be made out of slime. Or I guess we could make them out of honey, but I don't have any of that. So the slime is gonna like launch the kelp items like super far off in that direction. And if we don't put like a wall right here, all of our kelp's gonna end up over there, which is not what we want. So I need to design some of the redstone and figure out how to do the flying machines, and then we can start installing this stuff. And here we go. I believe that this is the setup that we need for the kelp farm. This is 2 flying machines. Each one of these is 8 blocks wide and will cover an 8-block area. So if we unflick this lever, that should, in theory, launch both of those. I have yet to test this. That one broke. We don't talk about that. This one does appear to actually be working though, so that one gets pushed back to the side, and then it should dock right here, no questions asked, right? Yeah, cool, so that one works. But then, no, it does, okay. I got some things to fix. There we go, that's what it should look like. I am such a noob when it comes to flying machines. I don't understand these guys at all. And I have not built one of these in ages. It clearly shows, doesn't it? So this is the basic system that we need to lay out on the Truly Bedrock server, and this is what we're going to be using for our kelp farm. I'm currently locked in blind combat with a drown. I don't know if I'm winning, and I don't know if I'm losing, but there's many tridents and many arrows going everywhere. I don't like kelp forests. Why did I build this monstrosity? Seriously, where is that drone at? I've shot at every possible location. Oh my god, he's definitely gonna kill me. Someone please remind me never to play Battleship, because I would definitely lose. A little while later now, all of the flying machines on both sides for both the farms and the return stations are now in place. Just doing a little bit of last minute cleanup for the bottoms. I decided to make all the floors out of sand. That way it's all consistent and all the same. And that way it has a mild chance of looking good when it's actually completely done and built. Not sure how to decorate this part, but it turns out that we don't actually need like that much of a box around this. We really only need to protect this little area right here where we're actually going to have like redstone dust, and then we need to protect this little area right here from the water because there's going to be a bit of redstone there too. The rest of the farm can be completely water, and that'll have no effect on just about anything. Finally, all the redstone for the flying machines is installed. That actually took like an hour. I don't know how I spent an hour doing that, but I somehow did. Anyway, I believe it's all good to go now. I've double checked everything. At least I think I did. So let's go ahead and flick the lever. That should activate a flying machine. Of course, that's going to harvest all that. I'm probably just going to let it despawn because we have no form of item collection. And we have broken the thing already. So this is actually verifying a little bit of a fear that I had regarding these flying machines, and that if they detect a kelp growing, they are going to break. But all we need to do to fix that is break the kelp in front of them, and they should keep going. So overall, it does work pretty well. To fix this, all we actually need to do is make the observers face upwards, and I think I can do that pretty easily without changing basically anything about the entire design. Okay, this is breaking quite often, isn't it? Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to make these observers face upwards then. Ow! Stop it. Okay, this has stopped like 5 times already. Let's go ahead and break this yet again. I just punched an observer out of existence. Okay, well, I guess flying machine broke. Need fix. So at least the return station works, but the entire rest of it's kind of like, yeah, not that great. Okay, so in theory, this should be good enough to fix the flying machines. The only way that it could possibly break from here is if the flying machine is going so fast and the kelp is going and breaking so slowly that a kelp plant ends up growing on top of an observer. I don't know if that can happen. It should only happen on the observer on the front end when it's going that direction. It shouldn't have any effect on that one. Anyway, long story short, let's go ahead and flick the lever for this dude to make sure that this flying machine works, and then we can see that this side will get harvested. As you can see, very, very nice indeed. Now, because the flying machine gets shifted to the left by a block, this line of kelp is not going to get broken until the flying machine goes back to the launching station. Cool beans. So that harvests every single kelp plant and launches quite a few kelp to the side and quite a few kelp up to the top as well. I definitely do not have enough storage for this at the moment, so let's get to work designing some item collection, shall we? Actually, before we get to the item collection, I want to see what a full harvest looks like with both of the flying machines going, so let's activate both of those dudes, and we should see many, many, many kelps. This is why I like kelp farms so much. There's just so many items, and they float up, and it's honestly kind of gorgeous, and it's a little bit beautiful, and it's really, really just peaceful. The idea I have for item collection is a fairly simple one. So right now we're filling in the main blueprint or footprint of the farm, 16 by 48, and we're filling this in with upper half slabs. That way we don't remove the water sources that are at this layer. We need these to remain water sources. That way the items actually float up through it. If we put solid blocks here, then this would actually be downwards flowing water, pushing all of our items down. We wouldn't collect anything. So right in the middle of this 16 wide platform, we're gonna have ourselves 2 water sources. Lucky for us, water actually flows 8 blocks to either side. So all we need to do is put 2 water sources here in the middle, and that'll push all the items to the left or to the right of the farm. And then when we go ahead and remove all these slabs right here, we should see that any items that float up will get pushed directly to the side, and then they should go right off the edge into our packed ice water stream. As you can see, fairly straightforward, pretty simple. Now you might notice a slight issue with this design. So there's no walls to actually keep in the water of the ice streams. So we technically need to move these another block to the side, which is gonna pose a little bit of an issue. I'm not entirely sure how to solve that. because we need the water to flow like an extra block. I guess what we could do is we could raise up the center water sources. I guess we'll see how that works, maybe? Yeah, if we put some slabs like that, that should flow an extra block. Is that gonna update or not? Come on, flow an extra block. Just flow to like here. There you go. Yeah, that'll actually work. So now we can have some walls of the water streams be right here, and we can still have the normal water right here, which will get all of the kelp flowing up into this area, and then that'll go into the ice streams. Okay. That does mean that we're gonna have a very silly looking middle of the farm, but honestly, this entire area looks very silly, so we may as well just like go all for it. Something I've realized is that these 2 blocks right here need to be water, and then so do these 2 blocks right here. That way there's no downwards flowing water, and that way we don't lose any items. I'm glad that I caught that. I definitely need to go collect a lot of ice to make this happen though. Well, this should be good. I was right. That was good, actually. I guess this will be the first test of the system. Removing all the slabs should cause them to go directly into the ice stream if everything is working correctly. Oh, I nearly broke this pickaxe. I'm glad I looked down. I have only broken like 2 netherite tools, but I've nearly broken like 5,000. I'm extremely lucky, apparently. So 2 things. First of all, I forgot that we need to replace this edge right here, either with chests or packed ice right here, and then pressure plates above it. That way the items don't get kind of stuck, like bobbing up and down right here. Realistically, they shouldn't do this. They should have enough momentum to bob up over this edge and then go into that water stream. But we do not live in a realistic game, so we're just going to replace this edge with some blocks. And also, the items that come up right here get enough momentum upwards that they then sink back down, and they can actually end up underneath the ice stream, as you can see from these couple ones, and even like these guys all the way over here. So what we need to do to fix that is actually build ourselves a wall going downwards quite a ways. Basically, with this farm, we're always going to have at least a little bit of loss, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But we do need to minimize that loss, so that way we don't have laggy items all over the world. I've done a lot more work on these kelp farms. As you can see, we now got ice streams in on both sides. All of the water is now installed, and it's looking pretty good. I decided to put packed ice right here and then buttons above that. That way, any items that get stuck right here on this edge will no longer get stuck, and they'll go directly into the water streams, as you can see there. I need to figure out exactly how the water streams are going to tie in to the main, like, Guardian farm, how they're going to actually get items into a storage system, and stuff like that, but that is going to be a future project. Both of these kelp farms are going to sit kind of idle for a little while until we get some more infrastructure built within the base. So I went ahead and did a couple of test harvests of this kelp farm right here. So I harvested 1/2 of it, or one side, and we got all of this kelp, which is about 35 stacks, or, you know, a little over 34, which means that we should get around 70 stacks of kelp every time we harvest it, which is a lot of kelp. Now, that being said, all of this is the loss, and as you can see, that's about 9 to 11, 12, that's about 13 stacks of kelp, which is about a 30% loss rate. And not very good. We do not want that. So what we need to do, yet again, is we need to build some walls going downwards, probably about by 3, 4, or maybe even 5 blocks going down. And then we also need to extend these walls right here, going all the way across this build to this side. That is a very, very easy thing to do and a very simple thing to do, and I will probably get that done in between episodes. And other than that, these 2 huge kelp farms should be pretty much done and dusted. So needless to say, both of the kelp farms are now installed, and they're both at the same state, so they both have equal amounts of work done on them, and they both need equal amounts of work. Overall, they don't really look that bad per se. I mean, they kind of go with the Guardian farm. They're like basically the same width as the Guardian farm. I suppose I could have made them a little bit wider and just straight lined it up with the whole farm, but it's whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. It's all good looking. We certainly do need to figure out some decoration for the top sides of these farms, because they do kind of stick out a lot more than I originally anticipated. So if you got any design ideas, or really any ideas at all for how we should decorate the space, please let me know. You can send me pictures or whatever on Discord or in Twitter, or, you know, just let me know your ideas down in the comment section. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope that you have greatly enjoyed. Of course, if you haven't, make sure to leave a like on the video. It helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you're new here, then consider subscribing so you don't miss future episodes. And otherwise, I'll see you down in that comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.